Ryan Elliott for Boxing News. We're in Newcastle today. With me, Ade Oladipo. Ade, been a while. How are you?
Not bad at all, good to be here. Don't normally do these. Obviously, I think this is probably my first one, doing a Wasserman card. They're usually on Channel 5, but the Zone have picked this one up, and it's good as well. Josh Kelly, obviously, look, a very good fighter. Coming off, I thought, a ridiculously good performance against Troy Williamson. It's a shame that he's been out the ring for so long since then. That was, December, I think? So it's, 7 months or so? But good to see him back, and let's see what he can do.
You mentioned there, Josh Kelly back. He's on DAZN. Kelly Corzo this weekend. 2 world-ranked fighters. I can't profess to have seen too much of Corzo. Do you know what kind of fight to expect?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm like you. It's almost the unknown. I looked at his record, obviously undefeated, 18 fights, 18 wins, 3 knockouts, which suggests that he probably is more of a boxer than a puncher. But you never know. You never know. I think a lot of people said that about Josh Warrington. And I remember Carl Frampton saying, well, he can hit. But the record suggests he can't. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to expect. It'll be interesting to see what Josh does here now, because obviously last time out, British level, steamed through Troy Williamson. So is this the case of finding out where he is in terms of that fringe world level, and then maybe he goes? I'm not quite sure if Corzo's that opponent, but he's just got to look good. Look good, and then put your name in the mix when Charlo eventually vacates all those belts. How far is Josh away from potentially fighting someone for a final eliminator or something like that? So it's more a case of watch him brief, see what he looks like, and then we'll all kind of, I guess, decide where Josh is.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is this more of a case of jockeying for position at this point? We know the belt at 154 probably going to come free at some point. Charlo's now fighting Canelo. I think Josh Kelly's 2 in the WBO. Corzo's number 9. Kelly's got rankings elsewhere. Is it about just being in the right position at the right time?
Yeah, exactly that. And that's what all the promoters have done over the years, right? Get your guy to the point where he's either number 1 or number 2. And Josh, as you say, is number 2. He's got the WBO international belt, which has some stock. So it's a case of as soon as Charlo vacates, and he's going to be pressured to vacate after the Canelo fight, he'll move up anyway. And then it's a case of, am I in the right position to fight for a vacant title? Am I ready to fight for a vacant title? And I think, depending on who is number 1 or number 3, you can be unlucky and fight someone like a Tim Tszyu or Brian Mendoza, or you might be lucky and fight someone less than that. So I'd have to look at the rankings. But Josh, at this stage of his career, 29, what are you waiting for? Go for it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it works out, you could be world champion.
We might as well move on to Canelo Charlo since we've brought it up. We were expecting Jermell. We got Jermell. Unexpected. Fun fight. What do you think's going to happen?
Amazing. Honestly, amazing. I mean, what a year it's been for PBC and Showtime. I mean, obviously Ryan Garcia, Tank. We've got the small matter of Spence, Crawford, and then this one as well. And I love it. And I said to people, a lot of people talk about the size difference. I've been lucky enough to see up close as we are, Canelo and Jermell Charlo. Charlo's big. I don't know what he comes down from to make 154, but the size difference ain't really going to be there. And I think we can also agree, albeit on a very small slide, Canelo is not the Canelo of a couple of years ago when he beat Golovkin and Jacobs, etc. So I think it's a really good matchup. Undisputed versus undisputed. I mean, if Charlo wins, he's going to literally have 10 belts around him, which is ridiculous. And he's going to shoot right up the pound-for-pound rankings as well, top 3. So, magnificent matchup. It's funny, people are asking me, am I upset because it's not on DAZN? I'm a boxing fan, first and foremost. And I think if you are a boxer now, don't sign an 8 or 9 fight deal. Go to where the fights can be made. And I think we've seen that with Canelo when he fought Caleb Plant. He's going to where the fights can be made. So, that's all good. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Hopefully we're there for it as well, doing some sort of DAZN boxing shows. But great fight, man. Incredible fight.
A lot to get through. Finally, the heavyweight divisions came alive in the last few days, so we'll start there. Elsewhere today, Usyk Dubois, London press conference, fight official. What are you expecting?
It's a tough one, man. It really is for Dubois. I mean, I've seen that guy Usyk up close twice now, and you're watching a magician. You're watching it, and I mean, with Dubois as well. Look, there's a part of me, from a British standpoint, that wants Dubois to win, but there's also a selfish part of me that wants to see Usyk Fury. So I want Usyk to win so we can keep that hope alive that we're getting undisputed. Dubois has obviously gone back with Don Charles, who he's been under before. He didn't look great against Kevin Lerena. Look, well done to him. He came for an injury and got the job done. But this is a whole nother level. And you're basically fighting Usyk in his backyard. All the Ukrainians are going to come over to Poland as well. That's a tough ask, man. It really is. But he's probably got that youthful exuberance. He might do what AJ didn't do, which is steamroll Usyk, as opposed to trying to have a boxing match with him. I give him a chance, but it's a slim chance. Usyk's pound for pound number one for me. And you're fighting that guy in his backyard, so good luck, dude. Good luck.
Talking about the potential of Dubois trying to steamroll him, do you think that his only option is to go straight at him?
Yeah. Honestly, it is. There is no other... He has no other hope. He doesn't. I mean, almost a bit like what Chisora did. That no fear of getting hit. Do you know what I mean? And that's his only option. I mean, he can try and stand off and box, but that's not going to work out well for him. Yeah, he's just got to steamroll him. Sounds a bit crude, but he's almost got to think of old school fighters of, I've got to take one to land one. And he might have to take one coming in to land one. But the problem with Usyk is that people somehow think he's not a big puncher. He can hit. I mean, I always speak to Tony Bellew about it, and Tony Bellew said, trust me, he can hit. And I think we all saw how hard he can hit when he fought Tony. So just got to steamroll in and just almost pray that something lands.
Joshua Whyte 2 is done. You were there. Obviously, first time round, you're a fan, watching along at home. Yeah. This time you hosted the sit-down. What was that like?
Crazy, honestly. That was surreal doing that. Because as you say, I mean, I've got the video of me watching it as a fan, like we all are, right? And to see them both there, and Dillian Whyte looked massive. Honestly, he looked massive. His neck, his back, and AJ sat down and stared directly at him. It was weird, but it was a lot calmer. Obviously, everyone's gonna have to watch it, but it was a lot calmer than it was 2015 because they're not those guys anymore. Dillian Whyte's not as wild. It's still there, but he's not as wild, and I think AJ's matured as well. So it was nice to do. It was fun to do. It's an interesting fight, right? I've always said that this is what I wanted AJ to do. I wanted AJ to have 3 fights this year, but almost go steady with the level he's fighting. I know a lot of people screaming that it's not Wilder. I never thought AJ was ready for Wilder yet, especially not after that Franklin performance. And he admitted that as well. I asked him, grade out of 10 or score out of 10 your Franklin performance, and he said 4. You can't go from a 4 to a Wilder or a 4 to a Fury. You've got to go somewhere else. And I think it's fair to say Whyte is still a top 15 heavyweight. He's above Franklin, so that's the steady progression. And then at the end of the year, maybe we get the big one. But I think it's a good matchup. I think it sold out the O2 Arena, which it should do. And I think for the first 4 or 5 rounds, it'll be carnage. And then after that, hopefully Joshua starts to settle down. I'm saying this as a Joshua fan. Hopefully he settles down and gets a good victory, a knockout victory. He needs one. He said it as well. He hasn't knocked anyone out for ages, like out, cold. And what did he say to me? He said, I've gone back and watched old footage of me where he was a dog, a bit more aggressive, went for the kill, didn't care. And I think he's trying to find that. And hopefully he's found that in that Derek James camp. But we'll see. August 12th, we haven't got too long to go. What, 5 weeks? Thereabouts. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that in the press conference. He was trying to play it cool and say he's not going to get reckless and he doesn't need to let Dillian Whyte get under his skin. We were wondering if the Franklin fight would be the fight where we saw that aggressive Anthony Joshua, that knockout. It didn't come. I think this is the right fight for that, a bit of needle, something that, regardless of what he says, he must want the knockout.
100% wants the knockout. And you're right, I was at that presser and I was like, what's going on? Like, come on, a bit more aggression. I think when they sat down and were looking at each other, that's when it all came out. We watched, and so the day after I did the interview with him as well, me and Tony Bellew, and he was watching back the old footage, and I think he saw that and was like, whoa, okay, I need to be that guy again. A guy that got hit in that fight, I remember he got caught with that left hook. He took it. And so I think it's almost like, whoa, I can get hit and take it, let's go. So I think we are going to see a much more aggressive AJ, and we need to. I mean, that Franklin fight was flat. Let's be honest, it was flat. It wasn't what we all expected. So we need to see an explosive AJ. We need to get excited for Wilder. Because right now, you ask 100 people who wins AJ Wilder, I think 99 say Wilder. We need to get to the point where, we start to get a bit closer. And I think a good win over Dillian Whyte gets there.
Elsewhere in the heavyweight division, the WBC heavyweight champion Tyson Fury is fighting Francis Ngannou. Thoughts? I
love the way you even started it. See, you're a troublemaker because you started by saying the WBC heavyweight champion. That's what he is. He's the WBC heavyweight champion. He's the best fighter on the planet. And I think he's a heavyweight that beats all the heavyweights because he's that good, Tyson Fury. I get it. I get what they're doing. And I tweeted this. I said, I understand it. It's a cash grab. There's a lot of money. You've been offered 40, 50 million. I get it. Go and fight Francis Ngannou, who can't box. He's not a boxer. It's an easy win. But it's not good for the heavyweight division. The best heavyweight on the planet. Look at all the heavyweights that are fighting. So Dubois is going to Poland, backyard to fight Usyk. Joyce is rolling the dice against Zhili Zhang. AJ's taking a risk against Dillian Whyte. The best of them all is having the easiest fight against Francis Ngannou when he should be defending his WBC heavyweight title. Like, we gave him a bit of a I say we, but the boxing fans said, okay, we get what you're doing with Chisora. You're giving a friend a bone. We accepted that, right? Even though it wasn't the fight we wanted. You can't do it back to back. Defend your belt. It's crazy. I don't know how Mauricio Sulaimán's not giving him a mandatory. I saw Mauricio Sulaimán say something the other day like, we haven't found a challenger for him. And I was like, well, it's quite easy. You just go down the bloody rankings and you find someone. Don't tell me Frank Sanchez wouldn't take that fight in a heartbeat. Bacoli wouldn't take that fight. They keep saying things like, well, Andy Ruiz asked for too much money. How much did he ask for? Let's find out how much he asked for, because I don't believe that either. So look, I don't like it. Again, I think the thing for me is that I think Fury could almost fill his boots with heavyweight fighters. Like, honestly, he could literally, when it's all said and done, his resume could say AJ, Joe Joyce, Usyk, the lot of them, because I think he beats them all. But in the end, it's going to say Wilder and Klitschko, when it really should say so much more. And maybe he doesn't care about his legacy. I speak to fighters all the time, and they always say it's all about the money. Whereas we like to think they care about legacy. So maybe he doesn't, because, again, his last 3 fights since that Wilder fight in 2021 are Dillian Whyte, Derek Chisora, and now Francis Ngannou. Dude, that's not enough. I'm sorry. It's just not enough. Not for the best guy on the planet. So, will I watch it? Of course. Who's not going to watch it? We're fight fans, right? We'll watch someone falling at the pub having a swing. So I'm going to watch it, but it doesn't mean I like it. It just shouldn't be happening. I'm happy for Francis, though. I'm a big Francis Ngannou fan because I do watch a lot of MMA as well. And I'm happy that he's getting paid, because there's a lot of talk about when he left the UFC, like, what's he doing? He's stupid. He ain't going to get paid. Well, he's getting paid now. So I'm happy for that. But Fury should not be fighting bloody Francis Ngannou. It just should not be happening. I mean, he was trying to sell the John Jones fight as well. I'm like, fight a boxer. You're the best boxer out there. Fight another boxer. It's a disgrace. And Frank Warren will always say, oh, we're trying to negotiate with this person and that person. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I mean, okay, even if it's not Usyk, I get it. The negotiation problems, and we're not lucky enough to know those things behind the scenes. But start with Frank Sanchez then. Start with Hrgovic. Start with Bacoli. There are other heavyweights you can fight. Tyson Fury can fight all those guys I just mentioned and still fill out a stadium, because he's Tyson Fury. But obviously, look, he wants to make as much money as he can in Saudi. I don't blame him, but it doesn't help the heavyweight division, does it?
With that in mind, that's in October. Usyk's got Dubois. We were talking about, this double header in the winter. Do you think now Usyk Fury goes on hold even furthermore, despite them both having fights lined up? Yeah,
I don't think we see Usyk Fury next. I really don't. I mean, I don't know if we believe Eddie Hearn or not, but I think Eddie mentioned something about Hrgovic Usyk. I'm like, what? Where's that come from? And this is what I'm talking about. It's just, they're not kids anymore either. They're not spring chickens. I think Usyk's 36. Fury, I'm going to guess and say 34. So we're talking the top tier of the heavyweight division are all mid to late 30s. But they seem to act like they're like early 20s. Like, it's either now or what's the point? So, yeah, man, I'm just a bit disappointed. Like, I wanted to see, and it's only the heavyweight division. All the other divisions are getting fights, right? All the other divisions you go down, and we are trying to get close to undisputed or at least get unifications. It's just the heavyweight division where it's almost stagnant a little bit, because the main player in it isn't fighting a boxer. The main player in the heavyweight division is not AJ anymore. He was the guy before. It's not him. It's Fury. And unfortunately, he's not giving us what we want right now. It's true.
Couple of weeks out from the big one, Spence Crawford. Before I let you go, Ade, I'm not going to let you go without a prediction.
Crawford. I'm going out there for it as well, which is incredible, insane. It's such a hard fight to call. I just feel like Crawford, when the going gets tough, has more tools in his tool bag than Spence. It's weird. I think Spence fights one way, and that one way is incredible, by the way, but it's one way, and he doesn't really... I've watched a lot of his fights recently now, back. It's one way, and that one way will grind you down, but it's only one way, and it's a very good one way. Whereas Crawford, I'm telling you now, that guy seems to be able to fight 5 or 6 ways, and he could be really struggling against Spence, and I think he will then adjust and do something different. Whether he switches to southpaw, whether he fights on the ropes and says, okay, let's try this, he'll find a way to win. And I've got Crawford coming from behind to win a razor-thin decision or a late stoppage.
Ade, thank you as always. Speaking of boxing news, we'll catch you soon.
Thank you, people.